Alright everyone, welcome back. So, this morning, our plan is to delve down in the fish hold here. You can see we got another lamination done yesterday, and it just needs trimmed up on the edges, and we'll stack it up over there with the other one. So, when we laminate these boards, it gets pretty fumy in here, so we're going to wait until this afternoon to do our lamination.
Yeah.
And kind of spend the morning and before lunch to delve down the fish hold here. Yeah, just kind of demoing out what we need to do in order to kind of get our plan going.
Yeah, so on the ceiling there's you're going to take out a strip of glass. Doesn't need to be too wide, enough to get in there and slide our bulkhead up, and then we can drop it down on top of the stringers. We'll kind of show you guys that when we get down there.
Yep.
That way it's going to kind of key in the bulkhead. There's a deck beam that runs across right there that we can tie the top of these bulkheads into. Not sure if it'll need a spacer yet. Kind of need to get one rough cut or just a piece of wood to kind of put up in there and drop it down, and we can see whether we'll need a spacer or not to bring it forward a hair, but that's not a real big deal. Yeah, still quite a bit of work to do down there. Gotta start getting these sumps laid out. Got some concrete to bust out still. Everything's been a little bit slow lately. Just getting everything ready up here to actually start fiberglassing. So this last panel went really good again, so we were pretty happy with that. The results were really consistent. The layup looks great. I think we're somewhere at about a 40% glass content to fiber, or to 40% glass to 60% resin ratio, which is good. You know, for what we're doing, it's fine. Usually they say if you haven't done hand layups before, that glass content can be like 30% or lower even. So it's really just about trying to wet out the material sufficiently but not have too much resin, because that can be bad. But a 40-60% ratio is pretty good, so we're happy with that.
Yeah, we're happy with our setup back there too. It works great.
Yeah, it's really easy to laminate these. Took about an hour and a half to do this, I guess.
Yep.
Again, a little bit of fiddling around, getting set up, but yeah, it went real smooth. So.
Well, just busting out our rotary hammer here.
So we got a lot of comments when we were working on jackhammering this concrete out. It didn't take us too long to figure out a little air chisel wasn't going to do the job, and we did rent a rotary hammer from the rental center here, but it was like close to $100 for a day.
Yep, it was $85, I believe.
Yep. So we just went ahead and ordered a new one a while back, because we have other jobs too that we can use it for, not just on our boat. But we definitely knew that it wouldn't take too long to start paying for our own, so yeah, just made the decision to buy one. We actually thought this concrete went back further here, and we hadn't removed all the material there, but regardless of that fact, we still needed one. We'll have some applications around our house for it, so it was a good investment. So we're going to go ahead and get that out and get it set up and start busting out the rest of this concrete.
So, I don't remember what model this is or anything, but it was the bigger one of the two Macleods. So
yeah, kind of like not the low range, but not the high range either. But a very robust, very good piece of equipment. Great reviews. Macleod is a good brand. We have a lot of their equipment. Some of our high-pointed saw, worm drive saws we've had for 20 years, and they just last forever. So I'm comfortable buying that and paying a little bit more. So this one's got a pretty nice setup. It's got a guide that you can put on there for the depth of cut. We picked up some good carbide drill bits off eBay. A couple were new. Actually, all of them were new. Some were just kind of old used stock, but a very good price on them. Locally, these guys here are over $100 each. And off the internet, I got some pretty good deals off eBay. So we also got a couple of chiseling tips and scaling tips, so we can get everything smoothed out a little bit when we're done. So
yeah,
I guess we'll go ahead and get this set up and start annoying the neighbors.
Yep. Actually, we're pretty lonely out on this end of the float, which is pretty nice. Don't really have to worry about bothering anybody.
Yeah, that's true. It's quiet over here. Anyways, it's a working harbor, so nobody cares.
Yeah.
There's always lots of noise down here. So yeah, I guess we'll get this set up. One of us will start chipping away the rest of the concrete. We just have the one little piece left on this side, but the other one we haven't even, other than just a little tiny spot we knocked out. Haven't even touched it. Yeah, this will make fast work of this project. Probably half a day to hammer that stuff out.
Yeah,
There's still some cleanup to do up forward too that we need to bust out. So I guess it's kind of demo day this morning.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to getting back down in there and kind of hammering out the rest of it.
Yeah, me too. I guess I'll get down there and start getting back into my destruction mode.
Okay. Deck beam right there. The bulkhead's going to be in here somewhere. So I'm going to get this whole chunk out, turn this block off. Not going to worry about notching it right here. Not sure what we'll do back here. We'll probably end up taking out these and sliding it up inside here a little bit. We just want to make the top so we kind of have something to key into. That way it can't slide out. Give it some good strength that way. So this is pretty much in line where we want it to be, so that's good. We might have to put a little spacer in here. We'll see. We can get this out of here. There. Oh yeah, a little spike through it. Nice. All right. Nice.
Okay. Well, that looks good. We'll just cut that spike off with the grinder and we're gonna mark a line on this. We don't need to cut the skin back any. We'll just cut it right along this beam right here. And like I said, I'm not exactly sure where this is gonna line up, but once we we have some marks down here where our bulkhead wants to be. So we'll get along the straight edge and we can put it up here, and then we'll figure out how it looks.
Yeah.
In relationship to that beam. And if we just need to put like a 2x4 up in there, we'll just put it across and run a couple screws in there. We're not really so concerned about like fastening it super solid to that deck beam. We just essentially want it to be, instead of just having the bulkhead up against this and tabs in, we just want it to be up in there and keyed. It's gonna make it strong that way. Won't take too much more to demo that out, and then I think that we have the bulk of the fiberglass removed. Have to knock a little bit out up here for Simpson's back hold. That won't take long. And then it's just starting to clean up.
Yep.
Lots of grinding, lots of cleanup.
Yeah, I got some chunks of concrete to remove still over here and on the side right here.
Cool. Still some water in here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I should probably take a knife and cut it out.
Yeah.
The bees. Very good, very good. Well, chisel away, old boy. And I got myself in the thing. Might start prepping this wall a little bit.
Yeah.
Start getting heavy off it.
Yep. Let's have a couple things to do up here. If we can rack it off. Rack it.
Yeah.
This and that.
Yeah. There'll be a lot of work to do on the poles.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
No problem.
we gotta put the poles out and it won't be bad. Yeah. It won't be too bad.
Nope. Check this out.
I'm talking about.
All right, guys, that's going pretty good. That pre-drill honeycombing really did the trick. Took out a lot of that concrete in big chunks, so. Looks like Dad got some nice cleaning up done over here.
Yeah. Just kind of getting into it, getting the heavy stuff off. Come back over it. After I wipe it down a little bit and take a look and see if any areas need some additional attention. Yeah, that looks good though.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Yeah.
That tool works good.
Chews right into it, huh?
Yeah.
I'm kind of like excited about maybe roughing out a bulkhead here before long.
Yeah, we gotta get some cardboard or wood or something to template with, so
I think
get around to doing that pretty soon.
I think the plan is maybe just remove that foam right up to the bottom layer of the deck right there. And then, like, the bulkhead won't be all the way up against it, but we can slide it up there to clear the stringers if we need to, and then drop it back down.
And it'll
then we'll
still
screw
have-
it in.
Yeah, it'll still have
Yeah, it'll still
have the face
register
feeding.
against it. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be good.
So I think between the two, there's a little bit of an angle there. So between the two, we'll get it in there pretty tight.
Mhm.
It's not as critical up there because it's got something to bear against. And I mean, technically, the same thing down here. Once this is refoamed and this glass is put back in with the radius on it, I mean, it can't go anywhere. What we're doing is capturing that bulkhead basically and creating an outer frame for it to pin it in place, and that's gonna give stiffness to those panels. But yeah, there's not gonna be any worries about this. Got some delamination going on here, which is kind of annoying.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna grind it back until I get, well, I guess I'll grind it back until I either get to good glass or I get to the end of this, and I'll just re-glass in the stringer right there.
Yeah, we'll just lay up some heavy PTI or
Yeah.
90.
And then
stuff
later
like
when
that.
we replace the rest of the fish hold, you know, we'll just come back to what we're doing is we're making it 100% underneath the bulkhead because we won't be able to do that later. And then we can, when we redo the fiberglass, we'll just come back to where we left off and fix it wherever it needs fixed. It's no
Mhm.
big deal. I see that in a couple of spots. I'm not like really sure. Like I can see that this stuff right here isn't the roving. That's matte, so
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go back until I get it cleaned up, and I'm not gonna worry about it one way or another.
Yeah, what we're putting back into it anyway is just gonna solidify it that much more. So, I
Yeah.
mean, before you just think that there was a single pillar with a half bulkhead here. Now a full bulkhead is going back in.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Very true.
Somehow. Let's see, dust in there. I got the vent jammed.
Oh.
I got chipping out.
Yeah, just pound it there. Yeah.
Turned to concrete.
Really
Rattled
was
the-
harder up here.
I think it rattled the mud and liquefied it. And
Probably.
yep. Listen to the directions, guys. Blow your holes out first. Just kidding. I live life like a rebel.
Matt got most of the concrete removed out of this one side yesterday. A little bit of cleanup left. It's looking good though.
Yeah, drill made short work of it.
Keto's rocking it. Start laying in on the other side. There's a few people that were worried about stability by removing all this concrete. It turns out it's not as much as we originally thought. We thought that this concrete ran all the way back there and we'd be removing all of that. But the reality is that it stopped right here. So, and the rest was just foam. So the good thing is that it's not as much concrete as we thought. And weight-wise, 1,300 pounds.
Well, that's not too bad, actually.
It's not much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Originally, I thought it was going to be like closer to 2 tons. Yeah, 4,000. So, yep, 1,300 pounds. That's nothing to worry about, folks. So, we'll always be leaving port with some kind of weight in the fish hold, whether it's ice for icing down our product, whether we're salmon fishing, then we'll be tanked down for RSW. If we're crab fishing, we'll be tanked down to hold the crab, to tank them live. So regardless, we're always going to have weight in here. Anyways, I just wanted to address that and kind of give you guys a little idea of how much weight it is. It's not that much.
Yeah, it's actually surprising it's only that much, so
yeah,
that's good.
I'm starting to get this template lined out for our bulkhead. That's roughly the position it's going to be going in. I think I'll have to put a little spacer in here, a couple of inch spacer, just to bring it forward a hair. Kind of the target area where we want this to lay is right here. So our bulkhead is going to come in right here. This shaft is going to be shortened. Our coupling will be aft of the bulkhead, and the bearing block. This bearing block is going to get moved up to about right here, and the coupling will be roughly in here. For the rear one, flange right here. Forward one, flange right there. Somewhere in there. It's going to give us enough room to access both of them through a removable hatch right here, and then we'll have another small hatch right back here where we can access our packing gland and tighten it up or repack it if necessary. Back to the bulkhead. Right now we're just trying to get this laid out to where it's relatively square. One of the toughest things about boats is finding good reference points, and that's definitely a challenge in this fish hold. Can't really trust any of these other bulkheads. We don't know when they were put in. We just found out that these stringers they're not equidistant from the center line. There's actually a pretty big variation in the two, and so you always have to kind of figure out what you can go off of. The other thing with the existing bulkheads is that they actually just sprayed foam on these and then fiberglassed. So none of those surfaces are going to be the same from side to side, and measuring off of them just isn't going to get good results. So really about the only thing that we can do with any reliability is either measure off the bow and measure back here and poke a hole through the side of the boat to measure off of, which isn't really ideal. We could do it up higher through the bulwark and then string a line across the deck and then have a reference point. What we decided to do is just go with the shaft alley here. Seems to be pretty straight. I'm guessing that it's pretty straight. Looking at it in reference to the shaft, it seems to be fairly equal. And so what we basically did is that we just came across with the T-square right here and made a couple reference marks, flipped it back over, did the same thing from the other direction, and they seem to be pretty close. And then we used our same T-square going off these lines and transferred a point up here onto the stringer right there. And we did the same thing on that side. If you look forward, we also did the exact same thing. And and we marked it in the middle with the screw. So that gives us a diagonal that we can measure off of. And so we laid all that out and pulled a measurement diagonally on each one, and it's within about 1/8 of an inch. So that's 120 inches right there, 122 inches, it's off 1/8. I think we can live with that.
Yeah, not too bad for that span.
Yeah, at least it gets us in the ballpark for layout here. And then there's a few things that we can do as we start to finalize the bulkhead and actually get it glued into space. One thing is that we can take like an angle finder and we can go off the hull up forward right there, and we can check it side to side. That's going to give us an indication of how straight it is, but I think this gets us in the ballpark. I think it's fairly straight, and we're going to run with it. So yeah, we'll get this last piece of wood thrown down here and just do another quick measurement, and then at that point I'm ready to start getting my template made for the bulkhead here. Got a pretty good trick on how to get the actual curve of this hull without spending a ton of time, you know, trimming this bulkhead.
Just going forward to do the same thing.
Yep. So we are at 21 and 15/16. And here we are at 21 and 7/8.
Reduced it by 16.
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah.
It's probably closer to 1/8 off.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
That's acceptable margin of error.
I think so. I think that's as close as that we're ever going to get. That's assuming that the shaft alley is running parallel to the center line of the boat, and
Yeah.
who really knows without tearing everything out of here and having a empty bare hole to look at and reference lines off of. So
Well, at least they're square to each other, so it's
yeah.
a fairly simple lineup.
Yeah, I like it. I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to get going on this bulkhead. That panel up there is just calling my name. It wants me to start trimming it and roughing it in.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see how it's going to look.
Same here.
Yeah, so I just stuck a couple of 2x4s off the back of this, so this will kind of be about where it sits, I think. So the first layer will be right there, and then there'll be a second one, so that should work out real good. We're going to have about 2.5 inches of thickness for both of our bulkheads, so they'll pretty much rest right against that beam, I think. So that just kind of gets that distance right there, thickness set, and I've got my lines down here on the stringers, so I'm just going to staple my template on here. All right, so I got a fairly straight edge now. I'm just going to kind of eyeball it against this post up here. And
Stapling to those.
yeah, and then
Okay.
I can just staple it to that, and that there looks pretty good, I think. Roughly. Yep, that looks good. So just pop a couple staples in there. Yeah, go ahead and blast a few more in there in each one so it doesn't shake around. Thank you. So we got our template all in place. There's a couple of different ways that a guy could go about doing this. One thing that works really good is like a door skin off a door. You can get thin paneling and cut it up into strips, and then you just cut those strips and hot glue them together to form a template. We don't have any of that, so we're just using a piece of cardboard. We stapled some strips of wood on the back to make it a little more rigid. It's not the best piece, it's got some creases in it and stuff, but should be okay for today, I think. The other way you could do it is that you could just take your piece of material and put it in place, and then as you look down the side, you find your biggest gap and just measure it, and then you cut a piece of wood corresponding to that, a block of wood, and then you could use that piece of wood as a guide, and you could scribe it along all of your template like that, and then you could cut it out. That works really good if you have clearance for it, and you can put a big piece in there, but in this case we can't. We've got things like these pipes in the way, we've got stringers in our way, and we've also got the curve of the hull. So to do that with our piece of material, we would have to rough it in, and we'd waste a lot of material doing that. We want to try and be precise as possible right off the bat here, because that foam is expensive, the layup was expensive, so we probably have about $300 into one of those sheets of foam that's glass. Maybe a little bit more, actually.
I think so.
Probably more like 350.
350.
So it's something that we want to be real precise about, because we're going to try and use all that material somewhere else. All those scraps and everything will go in a bin, and we'll do our best to use up all of that stuff without wasting it. So instead we took a piece of cardboard, and it's roughed in. You can see there's a lot of gaps here. There's a lot of space. But this is a pretty good trick. What you do is you take an irregular shape like this, and I just attached a little piece of wood on it for a handle to make it nice, and you just plop it down. Doesn't matter where you put it. This one has a little point, so I'm resting that against the hull, and then you just draw your shape like that. And this is always going to be my pointed end, so I know that. So you don't really need to do the whole shape, but it does help lining it up later. But that's actually sufficient what I have right now. So you just start going through, and you start placing this everywhere that you think you need a mark. So I'll just keep doing this, all these different points. I'll get some for my stringer. Like the side of it, down here in the corner. And while it might look a little bit confusing right here, later on when you come back, you'll be able to just lay these on these same marks right here, and it'll be pretty apparent which lines are which. So once I get this all marked out, we'll take this template off and we'll lay it down on our piece of material up there, our bulkhead, and we'll just use the same pattern, and we'll lay it right on these, and then we'll put a little mark, and then we'll connect all those dots, and that's going to be where we cut our shape out, and that's going to give us a pretty precise roughed in template, or a roughed in bulkhead right there. We'll have to fiddle with it a little bit. There'll be some adjustments to make. So I'm going to just get this all marked out off camera. I'll just go through and start marking the hull. Most of this is pretty straight, and then once I get in here, I'll want to make my marks closer. All the way down, up over the stringer, back down here. This is pretty close to my width.
It's a long process, a lot of preparation.
A lot of preparation, a lot of fiddling about, because we're really concerned about waste of material. Like I say, that we haven't figured out the exact cost, but I know there's at least $350 in that panel up there.
Yeah. And you want to do it right, because
pretty good chunk of money.
You can't actually buy that foam locally. You have to order it. So
yeah,
we have extra, but prefer not to use it.
Yeah, all of our stuff was shipped up from Seattle. It's about a 10-day lead time on it. They got to get the order together, they got to bring it over to the shipping company, and then it comes up on a container ship. And the shipping was expensive for that stuff too. So have to do the math, but I think it was about $3,000 for that foam to get that shipped up here, to pay for the cost of it with shipping. So that comes out to be, there was 12 panels there. So it's pretty expensive. It's a little over $250 a sheet. And then adding on the fiberglass and everything. So we'll do our best to really maximize our materials and not waste much if possible. That was one reason that we laid those panels out as a full piece, and then we're coming in and we're cutting our shapes out of it, because then all those little pieces that are left over, there'll be a bunch of weird shaped pieces and slivers, and we'll use all those in the shaft alley for bracing. These bearing blocks will need to be redone, so we'll be able to utilize a lot of that stuff going down the road. I thought I'd use a pencil, but it's kind of hard to press against this. I'm going to try this marker instead. So thanks to Michael and his son for sending these to us. Oh yeah, that'll work good. Leaves a nice sharp line. It doesn't bleed into the cardboard. So this is the first time I've used this technique, and I'm actually pretty excited about it, because trying to scribe in a big panel that you're actually trimming can be pretty tough to do. So it'll be a little bit weird in places like this. I'm not going to be looking for a super tight fit like around these stringers and stuff, because I know it's going to be hard to get it in there. I'm going to need some wiggle room. This panel will be a little bit oversized so we can slide it up into the ceiling. Kind of putting a little X in some of these so I know that it's the same line. So looks like a bunch of chicken scratch, a lot of scribbling. We'll see how well it works out. I think it'll work real good. I'm gonna throw my panel down. I got my stuff cleared out here. Love these panels though, they turned out great. So we did our first 2 laminations. They both came out really close to each other. I think the difference was like 16 ounces of resin, 16 fluid ounces, and a pound of resin is roughly 1 gallon, like 1.25 actually for this stuff. The drum weighed 485 pounds, and that's what it came out to as we were portioning these out on these 2 layups. We weighed the resin that we brought down to the boat, and then as we poured it, we wrote down the fluid ounces so we'd have kind of a good track of what we were using at home from our drum, so we know how much resin that we're going through. And also so we could kind of have a good idea of what's going into these panels to try and keep some consistency between them. So yeah, so like I say, that was 16 fluid ounces difference between those 2 panels, which was like 1 pound, a little bit less than 1 pound of resin difference between the 2. So not too bad. I think the total that we used was roughly 24 pounds of resin on each one. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, not bad.
Yeah, not bad. So we're gonna lay this down and get set up to mark this out and cut it, I think.
Yeah, sounds good.
It's gonna be kind of something like that. That edge is pretty straight, so we cut that edge straight and then we squared it with the post, knowing that this is a little bit wider than our panel, but what we'll be able to do is just measure the overhang on that edge and And that's how we'll square this panel. You basically just put the shape on all of your little marks, and you can put a mark and a mark, and then you just go through and do that, and then you can roughly connect those points where it curves along the hull here. That's a pretty graceful curve, I guess. There's no real sharp points or anything, so maybe we'll just take something a little bit flexible and kind of use it as a batten and spring it on that and get that curve. All right, well, shall we?
Yeah.
Start marking away, huh? So I'm just gonna put a little mark like that, I guess.
Boy,
This is it. I know, right?
it's like the culmination of all of our struggles.
It's progress.
Yes.
That's what it is. Yeah, all those are just right on that edge, so that's good. This as a batten, kind of get a little curve on these areas where it needs it, so just connected the dots. Yeah, go ahead up to my other finger too. There you go. Nice. Yeah. Helpful if it was a little bit longer, I guess, but
I think. Never mind.
guess we're ready to trim this, yeah?
Yeah. How is it?
Destroyed that blade quick. Blade's not gonna last long.
No.
gosh.
Oh God. Yeah, better go to something else that's just gonna heat up and start melting foam. I see the blade is golden in color. Yeah.
Well, that was wood. I guess I'll just try metal, huh? Should I try metal?
Yeah, metal with fiberglass is usually yeah, that one didn't last long, guys. That was a down-cut wood blade, and it just completely rounded those teeth off.
Yeah,
Go better, huh?
it's gotten better. I don't think it's lifting it or anything.
No, I don't
because
think so.
Not enough to ever matter.
Yeah, because it's going to be under it'll be down against the hull and...
Yeah, we're gonna want to seal these edges too. Yeah, looks good.
First foam coming in.
Now the part to wiggle, wiggle, wiggle around. I don't know if these might be long. I didn't curve that, so guess we'll see about that.
Mm-hmm.
I know we're probably gonna have to hack this all up to get it to fit. And so close.
Blocked by foam, a hair.
Mm-hmm.
You're blocked by foam by about a 1/4 inch. Just a little bit of that other stuff. Ooh,
Wow.
look at that.
And it'll drop right in there. I can't believe that was so good. Wow, that's an awful good fit. Got it. Ready.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Holy moly.
Not bad, Dad.
That is a pretty darn good fit.
Yeah.
Still hitting that foam, isn't it?
Oh, there it goes. Even better. Yep, there's a little foam there.
Oh, on your side?
Yep.
There you go. Yeah, wow. Huh.
Here you go. Get it from that side. Check it.
Looks good. I just pull it back and square it up there. Just like right there, huh?
Beautiful.
This would be out 1.5 inches.
Oh yeah, because the other one would go in there, huh?
Yeah, wow. That's a really nice fit. I don't think that there's really much a guy needs to fiddle with on that. Honestly.
Yeah.
Well, that's one piece of the puzzle, guys. So there'll be another piece behind that, and then of course all the way over. So yeah. Couldn't
I'd
ask
call
for
that a
much more.
victory.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, I guess we better pop it out of there, huh? Once we're done admiring it, of course. It's pretty darn good. We'll probably fiddle with it a touch, but I'm not going to go too crazy about it.
Nope.
I'm extremely happy about that.